All right.
So, welcome back, everybody. We're joined here today by Devon Dudley,
Hey
WWE
guys,
Hall of Famer.
Hall of
Devon
Famer.
Dudley.
We said we were getting a Hall of Famer on, and we delivered.
very good guys. How you doing?
I'm awesome. I'm so happy you're here.
Yeah,
I'm
man,
thrilled.
I'm pumped.
You know, ever
Thank
since I was a
you.
little kid, you and Bubba were just like the coolest.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would say that.
Yeah, you can agree
Easy
with that. You
question.
can agree
Yeah.
with that. You want to talk about TLC?
Oh
20
yeah.
years?
So 20 years today, I believe the WWE posted it was a 20th anniversary. Actually, I saw it from Edge. He posted something about it. Yeah, just go back to that like that time. It's pretty crazy. One of my questions from that time, the TLC is, there's a lot of crazy people in that match. Jeff Hardy, you guys, obviously, Edge and Christian. Was there any spots, anything really that was like discussed backstage, like you should do this? That was like just totally like you looked at him like you're fucking crazy, you like literally die.
No, there was nothing that we thought was too crazy or whatever. You know, you got to remember we came from ECW, so
Right.
there was nothing out of the norm that we weren't willing to do. Even with Edge and Christian and the Hardys, just for the simple fact that we were trying to become not only just a tag team in the company, but we were also trying to become main eventers and prove that we could be main eventers even as a tag team. Even though the WWE, has always been a single man's company,
Right.
but when tag team wrestling was always put on the back burner or put second.
Yeah.
Um,
Sure.
you know, each generation, it seemed like the tag team generation stepped up. You had the Hogan and Andre era with everybody during that time.
Exactly.
A little bit towards the end of that, going into the Bret and Shawn era, and then of course the Attitude era.
Yeah.
So with all of those tag teams and all those different eras, we all proved from the Andre and Hogan era to the Attitude era that tag team wrestling was extremely relevant, not irrelevant.
Absolutely.
And sometimes two guys on each team is better than one guy on each side.
Exactly.
Right. Oh yeah.
Now, I've always been tag team wrestling's my thing. I'm all over it.
Oh yeah.
Right now, I'd say tag team wrestling's probably the biggest it's been. Right? Do you have any tag teams in WWE, maybe outside of WWE, that you look at as like could be the next Dudley Boys, the next Hardys, the next Edge and Christian?
Your children?
Your children, maybe it's your kids. Maybe that's a good answer.
Well, again, as a producer now with WWE,
Yeah.
there are so many tag teams that have come and gone, but that are still here with the company.
Yeah.
Revival was great, when I worked with them when they were here. Also, Eric Rowan and Luke Harper was another one that are no longer with us. That I enjoyed working with. Zach and Kurt Hawkins was another one. And now the current who's on the roster now. You have the New Day and the Usos. You have Heavy Machinery. You have a tag team that was just put together in terms of Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro. With so many different tag teams now that are in the company, it's great to see how tag team wrestling has evolved again and now has become a main event type of deal.
Yeah, for sure.
As far as I'm concerned, the Usos and the New Day definitely did the job in terms of becoming the next Dudleys and Hardys.
Yeah.
So, people don't want to let go of yesterday. And I get that and I understand that because the Attitude Era with tag team wrestling and just the Attitude Era period was a tremendous time. But if the people did not let go the Hogan and Andre era and give us a chance, then we would not have been as successful as we were. So I think a lot of people that don't want to let go yesterday need to let go and move on. every generation has its stars.
Right.
You look at basketball. You had Dr. J in the 60s and 70s. You had Michael Jordan in the 80s and 90s. You had Kobe taking over for Michael. And then LeBron came in. So, if everybody just harped on Dr. J, there would have been no Michael Jordan. And we all know Michael Jordan was the face of basketball. You might not have known who your president was, but you damn sure knew who Michael Jordan was.
Right.
And, again, people's got to learn to let go and be able to welcome, these guys with open arms. They're going in there doing what they have to do to carry the torch after, the six of us has passed it to them. They are nothing but respectful guys. They've always been respectful and eager to learn the business even more than what they have. So for me, those guys remind me of ourselves back then and doing a tremendous job in doing what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Especially because, it's important, I feel, in WWE to be able to go from tag team to singles action. And looking at the New Day, Kofi with having the world title run he had, and Big E now breaking off and becoming, hopefully, a main event star.
I hope so.
I think your statement is just 100% true. With people do need to just start looking towards the future, and I think NXT is doing a great job of doing that. Do you see anyone in NXT right now that you could say, like, this person should and can and will become the next John Cena, the next, not talking about like Keith Lee, like people that are still current, because I know Keith Lee has just come up. Like, if you're looking at the NXT roster right now.
I think they all do. I don't like to single out people. I think Triple H is doing a tremendous job in NXT, getting, the stars of tomorrow. It's hard for me to say, who can really stand out and things of that nature. And just simply because if you really look at it, the grand, scheme of things, nobody thought The Rock was going to be The Rock. When Rocky first came out, he was booed, Rocky sucks and all of that. But the tide turned once the Rocky sucks thing happened and he joined the Nation of Domination. And then it took off from there. Nobody thought Austin was going to be Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's in WCW. He's not getting his just due. He comes to WWE. He's the ringmaster with DiBiase speaking for him. Mm-hmm. We all, not that it was a big mistake, but nobody knew how well Austin was on the mic, how good he was. Nobody knew just how good he was, period. The WWE did not believe in the Stone Cold Steve Austin character before it evolved into what it was after the King of the Ring, when he cut that memorable promo, and it just took off from there. Nobody saw that coming. Nobody also saw The Rock being The Rock and being him and actually becoming the most electrified man in sports entertainment. Nobody saw the Dudleys. The Dudleys were a gimmick that was supposed to have been a joke. It was never supposed to be taken seriously. With Bubba stuttering, and you got Chubby Dudley, Snot Dudley, Dudley Dudley, Big Dick Dudley, Spike Dudley, Dances with Dudley, Sign Guy Dudley. Here it is. I come in, and I was the one that basically said, we're not going to be a joke anymore. We're going to be serious. Yeah. And then, it weeded out, some of the other guys. And it put me and Bubba, and then, of course, Spike coming in later to the forefront. So you can't really determine who's going to be the star, because some people would have said so many other people were stars in ECW, and they were. But that was going to have the opportunity to go to the main roster in WWE and be, standout superstars. And not too many of them did. No one, if you would have told somebody 25, 30 years ago that the Dudley Boys were going to be number one, not only just in the Hall of Fame, but was going to help take tag team wrestling into the next atmosphere, I think 95% of the people would have said, you're out of your mind.
Yeah.
The only people that believed in the Dudley Boys were the Dudley Boys.
Yeah.
Bubba and I knew what we could do. And Bubba and I went, forward and made sure that the impact that we had was not only going to be a powerful impact, but was going to be memorable in every way, shape, and form.
Right. Let's go back to 99 when you mentioned, like, when you guys first came into the WWE. I understand that leaving ECW, it was over payment issues. It's been well documented that that was one of the downfalls of ECW. But yeah, heading there, did you have any interest in WCW? Did Vince contact you? How did that work? What do you remember about that?
Well, Bubba and I never had an issue money-wise with ECW. ECW, we never wanted to leave. And that's also been documented, that we never wanted to go to Vince. And when the offer was made by Vince Russo at the time, who was head writer, he was the one that contacted us. He was the one that informed Vince about us. We were excited. We weren't trying to put the companies against each other financially to try to get a bigger number. We told Paul Heyman that we got contacted. We don't want to go. Just offer us $1 more and of what you're paying us now.
Yeah.
And he said no. He says, I can't do that. I can't match their offer. And we said, Paul, we're not asking you to match the offer. We just want you to pay us $1 more. That's it. Just to show that, we know you can't compete, but just to show that you're willing to show, even if it's $1.
Yeah.
And he still said no, he couldn't do it. And at that point, we didn't understand why until later on. We knew that the WWE and ECW were working together, and that ECW was kind of their developmental at one point. So when Vince says, hey, we want the Dudleys, Paulie had to let us go. So we knew that later on, and we kind of understood it. Business was business. And so with that being said, it was one of those things where I did not want to leave. I did not want to go to WWE. I wanted to stay in ECW because I was a big fish in a medium-sized pond. And I think the thought of me going into a big pond and becoming a medium or small fish was extremely scary. But, thank God, the fears disappeared. Bubba and I got together and became one of the most successful tag teams in the history of WWE.
And history of pro wrestling, not just WWE. Like, don't cut yourself a little short, Diva.
There was a time a little bit in 2002, I believe, when they split you guys up. I think you went to SmackDown, Bubba went to Raw, and you became Brother Devon. Was it?
Reverend Devon.
Reverend Devon. I'm completely blanked out there. And you had a fella who carried your collection box out to the ring named Deacon Batista. Just wondering, how was that pitched to you? Did you pitch it? What do you remember about young Batista?
Well, Batista was the whole Reverend Devon thing. Again, Bubba and I thought it was bad timing for us to split. We didn't agree with it. We actually thought that, it was wrong for us to do it at that time. I think both of us were scared because, again, we knew what the team was together. Exactly. We didn't know what we were separate.
Yeah.
And so here it is, Bubba went to Monday Night Raw as Bubba Ray Dudley. Same persona, same everything. With me, they changed it because of the fact that Vince, in my opinion, we laugh about this, it was trying to stick it up what do you call it? The church is behind. Because here it is, they supposed to be so righteous and so whatever. And then that was when all of a sudden all the bad publicity started coming out about the priest messing with little boys and the PTL stuff, with the preachers messing with the women and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was kind of like an FU to them, and to a certain degree, the whole Benny Hinn and all of that. So here it is. I have to not only get rid of the Devon Dudley persona and take on the Reverend Devon, and even though it was close to my heart because both parents were reverends, and it wasn't like I did not know the Bible or the scriptures. So it kind of worked it with me in that sense. Me and Vince had a great time in doing vignettes in the back and things like that.
You're his spiritual advisor.
Yeah.
My spiritual advisor. We didn't want to go as, pointing it up to God or this and that, because I did feel that I was borderline pushing the envelope towards the edge with the character. So, I didn't want to make any references to God or really offend anybody, including my parents.
Yeah.
And so here it is. I'm trying to get that gimmick over. I'm trying to get myself over as a new character. And then they bring in Deacon Batista. And at that point, Batista was very young. He was very new to the game. He was still green.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of things that Dave did not know during that time. So not only did I have to help get myself over, but I had to also help get him over.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of pressure.
Mm-hmm.
I do feel that I was kind of cheated out of the Reverend Devon gimmick just for simply because it was going so well. And even to the point where, here it is. I'm working with Randy Orton. I'm working with John Cena. I'm working with Farouk. I'm working with Mark Henry, Val Venus, and Triple H.
Yeah.
And needless to say, I was successful against each and every one of them, including Triple H. So when you look in the win-loss book, not that it matters in pro wrestling, but shit, it matters to me when you say Reverend Devon versus Triple H and it has a victory over my name over Triple H. You're damn right. I should have mentioned that at the Hall of Fame, but I was scared they might bring me back and have Hunter beat me in 3 seconds. So I decided to leave it alone. But a lot of times, things don't work out the way it should. And even though certain people might not see your vision and how things go, sometimes the gimmicks go away. So my thing was the Reverend Devon gimmick was fine. It was certain powers to be that changed the upper office, so to speak, and made them think differently about the character. But there's no denying when you go back and watch it how the Reverend Devon gimmick was over. Yeah. But again, it was but it was shut down. One of the things that I will say is that Triple H really tried to help me during that time. And even when Hunter, looks at me in the locker room and says, Devon, you got the bad end of the stick on this one, because he even said it, that it was going good, but, he just can't understand why we're going in the direction that we're going, where the gimmick is now all of a sudden not working. So if Hunter was in the position that he's in now, back in 2002,
everything's different, right? Everything.
I think the gimmick would have worked great because, like I tell people all the time, Hunter would never have laid down for me in the middle of that ring if he thought that gimmick was garbage. Exactly. And so, the respect I have for Hunter is unreal. Not only am I respecting Hunter in the sense to where, his position and how he is in WWE right now, but just how he handled things even back then. Hunter, again, laying down for me on SmackDown and doing what I did. Not only that, but it was because of Hunter that I got the position as a producer to work backstage after we were done with our second run.
Yeah. Do you think Hunter ever gets a bad rep nowadays? You see a lot of social media, Twitter people,
former wrestlers
kind of crapping on Hunter and talking down about him because in the mid 2000s, he was the guy, in my opinion. I mean, he's like one of my favorites of all time. I love and respect him, and I love hearing you say that you love and respect him, because that makes me feel better as being a fan. Do you think he gets treated unfairly because of past booking decisions?
Look, I look at it this way. When you're on top, not everybody's going to like you.
Yeah.
Not everybody's going to think that you're making the right decisions, regardless. So damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Yeah.
You just got to go out there and do what you feel that you have to do. Do the numbers lie? No. Is he over? Yes.
Yeah.
Whether he's a heel or a babyface.
Mm-hmm.
Is the name the game? Is the name, does that suit him? Absolutely it does.
100%.
If anybody is a student of the game, it's Hunter.
Yes.
You might not like some of his decision making. You might not like him as an individual, but the man knows his stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, regardless to how some wrestlers during my era might have perceived Hunter, you know, and what he did during that time, that was then. You know, this is now. This is totally different. And he's in a position where, look at NXT. Look at how all the stars that came from nowhere, nobodies, the percentage of people that were on the indie circuit that was somebody is probably a good 3 to 5%.
Absolutely, yeah.
Of the roster. The rest are people that he created and that he helped. So, in my opinion, I believe Hunter's doing a great job. And again, it's not because I worked for the WWE. I said this when I was in TNA. Mm-hmm. I said that he was, you know, the game and that he really knew his stuff. And now that I'm a producer and look at things differently, I see things differently. When you're talent, you don't see the overall picture and why things are done creatively. The fans don't see it. And so when you watch something on TV and you go, my God, why did they do that? What the heck? There's a reason for everything. Yeah. Now, if giving a storyline to a certain individual and the individual doesn't pay it off, sometimes it is the company's fault, but then other times it's talent. Yeah. So for people to, you know, crap on it, I think it's wrong. I think it's, you know, a level of disrespect because you just don't know how it was really supposed to be if it didn't really work out. Both parties can be at fault, but at the same token, you go back to the drawing board and you rebuild and you do it again. Look at how much success he has as opposed to the unsuccess that he didn't get from some of the people that failed.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I actually started watching wrestling through TNA. They sort of got me into wrestling, which is kind of weird for me to say, because then I got into WWE from that. So I kind of started backwards. Anyway, I just wanted to know a little bit about Samoa Joe. I know you guys had a rivalry there. He defeated you for the TV title. Did you know that
Joe never defeated me for the title?
He didn't?
No.
Oh.
No, strange story. I left as TNA television title holder.
Oh.
And one of the things, because, you know, again, with TNA, it's not one of my fondest moments of being there. I did not like being there. I hated it. And it wasn't the people that I hated in terms of the talent. Okay. I loved the talent. I loved the locker room, but it was the powers to be behind the scenes.
Right.
When Jeff Jarrett left, it to me it just seemed like it went to crap. Just for the simple fact of the people that were in charge. Yeah. You know, my contract was up, and the day that my contract was up, we were at TV. Nobody even thought to take the title off of me beforehand.
Really?
And I remember we were doing the things where some of the baby faces were in the ring, including myself, and we were calling out aces and eights.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
And when we were calling them out, you know, they come out and we wind up having this big brawl.
Yeah.
And so I remember the big brawl and we're beating everybody and whatever. It was over. Show ended. and that was it. So as I'm leaving,
Wow.
nobody thought to take the title. Nobody thought to ask.
That
I
is
never
crazy.
said anything.
That's
I never
crazy.
said anything.
What?
So I looked at some of them, and I was like, all right, see you guys later.
Cool,
And I
thanks
went
for the
home.
belt. Put it
I
in
went-
your bedroom.
I went home.
Nice.
Do you still have it?
No.
Oh.
What happened was I got a phone call from a certain individual that worked behind the scenes and said, Devon, do you wouldn't happen to have that television title, would you? I go, yes, I do. And he goes, oh, that's great. Well, we had a tournament, and the last two is Mr. Anderson and Samoa Joe.
Oh, okay.
And I said, okay. I said, well, good for you guys. He goes, yeah. He says, you think you could bring the title to TV? I go, no, I'm in Mexico. I'm on vacation.
Perfect. That's
Meanwhile, I was sitting in my living room at home, which I'm only 45 minutes away from Universal. And they said, well, come on, can we have somebody go get it? I go, no. I got a big-ass Rottweiler that if anybody even comes to my house, they'll bite their ass. And they said, come on, Devon, seriously? I said, look, you're going to have to wait till I come back. I'm in Mexico. I'm on vacation. I don't work for you guys anymore, so goodbye. And I hung up the phone. So I actually watched the show.
well, that's awesome. I love that.
Me and Samoa Joe laughed about it. We still do laugh about it today. But he had the match with Mr. Anderson, and he wins the title. And Earl Hebner hands him a title belt. But he turns it the other way, like not with the head, not with the front. If you go back and look at it, he turns it the other way where the plate is facing him. But it was just enough that you could tell it was the old TNA heavyweight title that they used. Joe never raised the title.
Wow.
Hebner never raised it up to show that he was victorious. So after that was over, I get a phone call a week later and it said, hey, Devon, can we please come get the title? And I just went, yeah, that's not a problem. Come get it. That's
Perfect.
how it works.
I don't know if this happened while you were with the company, but that reminds me of a story. I forget who tells it. Maybe it was Cornette. I'm not too sure, but they were in St. Louis, I think, and they forgot the World Heavyweight title at
Yes,
their
I was there.
Yeah.
And
that was some of the thing.
They bought the plane a ticket. And put it on the plane.
Oh my goodness.
And they flew it to the arena. They flew it to the arena. Like someone had to pick it up at the airport.
You were there for this?
You were there for that?
I was there.
What
I was at the arena.
What was the backstage feeling when they're like, where is our world title? Like,
well, it was stupidity.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely.
That's exactly what it was. It was stupidity. We basically just said they were stupid and what they did. And my daughter. We basically just realized that these were some of the things that were so messed up about the company.
Yeah. It's unprofessional, That's really what it is.
Well, I mean, I've since made up with some of the people that I had a dislike for.
Yeah.
I have not forgotten, but I don't forget.
Yeah.
I don't forget.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I left TNA, I was very, very happy. Now, the powers that be now that's taken over Impact, I have no qualms with. And I wish them nothing but success and happiness. I have no ill feelings towards the company in itself, just the people that were running the company at the time.
Yeah, of course. Do you try and keep up with TNA, Impact, AEW, New Japan?
Listen, when you work for Vince McMahon and you're doing both shows, Raw and SmackDown, brother, I can barely watch TV by myself, let alone do that.
I was going to ask, so you're working on both shows.
Mm-hmm.
Is that because of the pandemic, or would you normally be working on both shows?
No, well, I guess you could say it's because of the pandemic, because I live in Florida. I'm only 45 minutes now away. I was 50 minutes away from the PC when we did it there. Mm-hmm. Now I'm 45 minutes away from the Amway Arena. So it's one of those things where why not? Listen, I'm getting paid very good money. And, here it is. I'm working 2 days a week. So I can't beat that.
Yeah,
I can't beat
absolutely.
that at all.
Yeah.
No, can't beat that at all.
As a producer, are you putting together matches or
Yes, I help put together some of the matches that I'm assigned to. So a lot of them are the tag team matches. The New Day and the Usos, Big E stuff. All of that stuff, Cesaro and Shin, just about it, the Street Profits, you name it, I do it. My daughter's in the background going, yeah, Daddy.
That's support. That's perfect, man. You need support. We'll just have a couple, maybe like 2-3 more questions, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. I'm so happy you're on. Like,
Yeah.
This is huge for me. I'm like,
this is amazing. Yeah. So I want to go back to August 25th, 2015. That was the night after SummerSlam. You and Bubba both returned to the WWE. I remember hearing nothing about that, like on the internet and stuff. And it's your hometown, obviously. Sure you got a bunch of friends there. How'd you guys keep that quiet? How did that not get out?
Well, nobody knew. The only one that knew at the time was my kids and my second wife at the time. That was the only one that knew. Nobody knew. I didn't tell family and friends or anything like that. I got a lot of angry text messages
there we go.
after we did debut back on Raw. Yeah. But we kept it hush hush, and I think that's one of the things that the business is missing. The internet has been so good to us in so many different ways, but it has hurt us. Back in the 70s and 80s, especially when I grew up watching pro wrestling during the Hogan and Andre era, when people came back, they didn't really, how do I say that? You didn't know when a surprise was coming.
Yeah.
And that's what made it special. Now, all of a sudden, it's leaked everywhere. If they saw me and Bubba come into the building, all of a sudden, it's the Dudleys are here. They're going to make an appearance, and it ruins the surprise because one person can go in that arena and circulate it through everybody, and then the pop won't be as big. But if it's a surprise like it was and nobody knew, because the boys didn't even know. They kept it such hush-hush. They didn't even mention it in the meetings. The only people that knew was New Day. The Lucha House Party, who wrestled New Day that night, did not know. They were just told, you need to walk away from the ring after it was done. So when we were in the trailer in the thing and we walked out to see, as we're walking to the gorilla position, as so many people were watching us, they went, oh my God, you guys are back. Yeah. I remember Becky Lynch's face was like, her mouth dropped. And she was like, oh, my God, the Dudleys. The Dudleys. Oh, it was great. And just to look at the shock, or even the boys, because nobody knew. Yeah. Even the Usos. The Usos, I remember telling me, I believe Jay was hurt. Jimmy was doing commentating at the time.
Right.
And Jimmy was in the locker room. And I remember Jimmy telling me the story. He said we were all sitting in the locker room, of course, because there's monitors. We were watching it. And all of a sudden, when that pyro hit, everybody was like, no effing way. Yeah. No way. And even the boys in the back were shocked because they had no idea we were coming back. That's how kept secret it was. And if you ask me, that's the way the business should be.
Absolutely. I mean,
that would help out tremendously if the business could stay sacred.
Yeah, the last one I can remember, besides Roman at SummerSlam, that was kind of been one of those. The last one I can remember is the Hardys at WrestleMania.
33.
And before that, Rollins. But, like, other than that, like, everything gets out. And, yeah, I agree.
It dampens the experience.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. When you returned in 2015, I mean, I was ecstatic. I was like, yeah. But I was waiting for that title.
One last
reign with the tag titles.
Well, the thing about it, guys, is that, and I told Bubba this, when the Dudley boys came back for the second run, I understand what people were expecting and what they wanted, but I even said to him, I said, we're not coming back to relive the Attitude Era.
Right.
I said, we have to come back to help out the younger talent, to get them to where they need to be. I did not want to relive the Attitude Era. I just wanted to have fun. That was my main objective, was just to go out there and have fun. I didn't want to take it seriously. And when I mean seriously, you know, like, well, if we don't get a title run, this is bullshit. And this, no, I didn't want to do that. There were talks about the titles coming to us, believe it or not, the night that we faced the New Day at the Garden, where it was televised on the network.
Yeah, I remember.
Is that the same one that AJ won the U.S. title at?
Not sure. Don't remember.
Okay.
But I remember we walked in the building. They said, okay, yeah, you guys are going to do it. Now, I don't want to go and start naming names, but certain people, you know, just a person was like, no, tell, you know, Vince, no, you know, the Dudleys, no, not tonight. We got to want it and this and that and blah, blah, blah. They got to want it. My thing was, I was very easy, and I think everybody noticed, to get along with when it came to putting matches together or anything like that. Of course, I wanted to do what was best for the team and the company. It was never difficult to work with. But I just feel that, you know, certain people back then just weren't on the same page. So whether we had the titles or not, I really didn't care. I just wanted to be having fun with the new generation. And I was just happy that I was back. And I was able to perform on the level that I knew I should be performing on. And, you know, listen, again, not taking any away from TNA, but I was never happy there. I never felt like I belonged. And it just always felt off to me. So me coming back was a great thing. We were supposed to sign another year contract in 2015. It was offered to us. You know, and Bubba decided that he did not want to be in a tag team anymore, and that he wanted to pursue the Bully Ray character. My thing on that was, yes, you had success in TNA, and I get it, but WWE is totally, completely different. And although you might have had a say-so in TNA, who's to say you would have had that same say-so in the WWE? We all know that that's very, very hard to do. But at 45 at the time, and he was 46. Oh, I was 44. I'm sorry, he was 45. My thing was, they're offering us on this second contract after coming back, they're offering us great, phenomenal money. Just take the money. In my opinion, I was not. I didn't care if I was on Raw. I didn't care if I was on SmackDown. I could have did main event, the show main event every night. I could have done dark matches, again, to help out the younger talent. And I would have been happy because, again, at our age in the 40s, right now, you take that money and you lock it up. We already created history. We already was going to go down as one of the greatest tag teams in the history of the business.
Absolutely.
You know, we were already put in the same category as the legendary Road Warriors. So, in my opinion, I felt, why not just continue doing what we're doing? I said eventually certain things will pay off, but the one thing that was meaningful to me was the money. People can say, oh, well, he only in it for the – you're damn right. You know, when you got kids, at the end of the day, listen, you know, loyalty, you know, is great and this and that, and I get that. But at the same token, you know, going out there and doing what you're doing, that's not going to pay the bills. What's going to pay the bills is the money. And at the end of the day, when you look at so many wrestlers who were broke or didn't get the money they were supposed to get during their run, and now all of a sudden they can't pay their bills, they can't go out and do their thing. My thing is, well, where did that get you? You know, so a title ain't going to do it. So my opinion was, I thought that we should have just taken the money and rolled the wave. And long and behold, the Hardys came in like 6 months later. How big would that have been? You take the picture, that WrestleMania in Orlando the next year. Now think about this.
I know.
It was It was Big Cass and Enzo.
Yeah.
It was Sheamus and Cesaro.
The Bucks.
Yeah.
I forgot who the other tag team was that was there. Then it was,
The
or
club.
unless the Hardys, the
Gallows
club.
and Anderson,
Yeah.
yeah.
Then it was the Hardys. So look at this picture. The Hardys come out. If we were in there, and the look of everybody in that TLC match when they're looking up at the titles, reminiscing of the TLC matches that we had, the bell rings. Let's say the club goes with Sheamus and Cesaro.
Yeah.
They get eliminated. We eliminate Enzo and Kaz. And I believe that's it, correct? So now the only two tag teams is the Hardys and the Dudleys. Could you imagine if we would have done it and set it up that way, and the last four teams in the ring are us, and we're right underneath the titles? We look up, the goosebumps, and everybody's, just forget about it. It would have been unreal.
Yeah.
The anticipation and knowing how we would have built that up would have been tremendous. And that's what I think that bothers me the most, because I didn't retire from wrestling because I couldn't. I didn't retire because I was hurt or what have you. I retired because they wanted the Dudleys. And because Bubba wanted to do singles, they decided, nope, well, we're going to make the contract null and void, and that's it. So it was over. Again, God bless him. God bless Bubba. I'm not saying anything bad or derogatory. I just feel that if he just would have waited that 1 year, we could have made so much more money. Not only the money they were giving us as a downside, but the money going around the loop with the Hardys and building up the TLC matches. The money that was left on the table there, that's what made me angry about the whole thing.
It would have been, it probably would be something that's talked about for, it would be like the perfect ending of the chapter of the Hardy Boys and the Dudleys.
Imagine that in 2020, because you had earlier Christian and Edge came back for a little bit. And then the Hardys are still not doing their thing together, but they can still go.
Listen, it would have been a tremendous time. And again, God, and again, God bless Bubba. Not saying anything wrong. I'm not saying anything bad. He felt that in his heart of hearts that he wanted to be singles, and that's fine. I get it. But Vince didn't want that. Vince wanted the Dudleys. And in my opinion, the madman, Dr. Frankenstein himself, Vince McMahon, I think he knew what he had planned, which is why he wanted the Dudleys to stay together.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. He knew what was happening there.
He knew. Yeah. He knew. And I remember when Matt came in, I said, "You son of a bitch." I said, "You knew it." He said, "You knew it." I said, "When I spoke to you about a week later to let's meet up and right before WrestleMania, I was like, you knew you were coming." He goes, "Devon, I couldn't say anything." I said, "You son of a bitch."
So you keep in contact with, obviously, with Matt, Bubba, Jeff. You try and stay connected as much as you can?
Yeah. I mean, well, Jeff still works for the company. Matt works for AEW. So, Edge comes in every once in a while. When Christian comes in, we still speak and everything is good. So I've got no issues with it.
And that means I have no issues with it. It makes me, the child in me is super happy hearing that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So do we want to wrap it up?
Hey, we've been going quite a long time. Don't want to take any more time.
I have a couple questions about, if in all of wrestling, do you have a match that you just never got? The one that just eats away at you. Man.
Absolutely. The LOD against the Dudleys.
Ooh, that would have been great. Of
course. That was the one. That's the one we did. When Hawk and Animal came back and fought RVD and Kane, that was a test to see what if everything was still good. When they came to Philadelphia that night and wrestled RVD and Kane, we were chomping at the bits to be able to finally get the Dudleys and LOD, the match that everybody wanted and was waiting for. And the unfortunate part is Hawk died a few weeks later. And, again, it tore us up because that was something that we really wanted. And in order for us to really, really be on the same category as the legendary Road Warriors, not only did we have to go to Japan and conquer and do what they did, which is what we did, not only win every tag team and every organization that we'd ever been in, we did that, but to be able to go face to face with these guys and to be able to do it. And, it would have been a great time. I would have enjoyed it. But, unfortunately, life has it is, and we're not able to do that. I think when everything is said and done and we leave the earth and we're all up there with the big guy, I think he could put his own WrestleMania up and get all those matches that we're never here on earth. We could do it up in heaven.
Yeah. Awesome.
One final thing before we wrap it up here. You mentioned Japan. Do you have any Bubba in Japan stories? Because I feel like that might be, Bubba's been known to be sort of a little bit rough around the edges. Is there any Bubba in Japan stories? I don't know why I find that interesting.
No, there were really no thing because we were very respectful with us over there because the Japanese were very respectful to us.
Right.
The Japanese welcomed us with open arms and really gave us the ball to run with and take over where the Road Warriors left off. So Bubba and I both really, really respected All Japan and New Japan, Muda, and everybody else that was out there that were running these organizations. The fans were just, I always told people if I did not have kids, when we left in 2016, I probably would have went to Japan and finished my career because that's how much love I have for the Japanese fans and the Japanese organizations. We just really enjoyed ourselves and we had great times every time we were there. We had funny moments. We had very memorable moments out there. But for the most part, me and Bubba both were on our best behavior. And we did good business.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I'd imagine, yeah.
To wrap it up, let's ask about your school. You want to do a little talk about the wrestling school?
Yeah, absolutely. It's Devon Dudley Academy. We're in Winter Park. We're right down the road from the Performance Center. It's on my Instagram, the address, the phone number, and everything. And the Instagram is Testify Devon. Also on Twitter, which is Testify Devon, my personal. And then you have the Devon Academy on Twitter. And then you have the Devon Dudley Academy on Instagram. And, again, we are getting the future ready. I'm taking, today's young kids that are eager to learn and to come to the business, and we're teaching them the right way, in and out of the ring. We're teaching them psychology. We're teaching them how to get their bodies groomed and ready. It's a 1-year thing. It's $3,500 for the year. It's $500 down, $250 a month. I don't think you could beat that. And not to mention, if you want to pay it all up front, we knock off $500. It's only $3,000 at that point. So, absolutely. So again, whenever, and it's one of those things where, now that I'm still a producer for the WWE, I'm able to know what these guys are looking for now. I'm not outdated or anything like that. So when I'm training you the way WWE wants you to be trained. And that helps me tremendously. We have so many people in NXT right now that have come from our school. We've produced so many people. In general, Haku, the legendary Haku, his boys, Tama, and Pate and Tafita, who are in New Japan, they came through the dojo. Tanahashi, New Japan star, came through the dojo. We've had so many people. Big Rob Terry has come through the thing. Sam Shar, who's doing the painting in NXT. Lacey with the long braids is our student. Mary Kate, they called her Rosie Lot of Love. She was in TNA, and then she was also, I forget her gimmick in NXT, but she was there as well. So many people have come through our doors and have basically made it. I'm very, very happy and honored and privileged to have the Devon Dudley Academy, DDA, to be, tomorrow's future for this business. And again, there's so many schools out there, and people say, oh, don't start mentioning other schools. No, I am, because I give them respect. I give them respect in terms of Rikishi School. I give that respect. I give I give Booker T, his props, but I'm taking care of, Rikishi's on the West Coast, Booker T's in Texas, I'm in Florida. So, we are producing stars for tomorrow and getting everybody ready. Devon Dudley Academy is where you need to be.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah.
Dream come true for me. My goodness.
Well, thank you, guys. It was a pleasure being on there, my friend.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right. You guys take care.
You too, man.
You too.
Have an awesome day.
Yeah.
Thank you, my son. Bye-bye.